I'm hoping everyone had a chance to pick up Powernomics. This was my first time reading Powernomics. I definitely found some jewels in Powernomics I'm going to share a little bit later. For this week, we were going to deep dive into chapters 3 and 4. I know there was a lot to read, so hopefully you got to read chapters 1 through 4, so you can have a context of what we're talking about. But before we do all of that, if this is your first time here, please put a 1 in chat to let me know this is your first time here. We want to welcome you with love. As I mentioned before, do not be shy. Do not feel like you can't turn your camera on. This is, again, nothing but cool people, nothing but cool vibes. We kick it, and we actually really, really enjoy the fact that you're here. And so you matter. And because you matter, we want to give you space to, share your thoughts. Don't feel like you can't, express your ideas. The only thing I ask is that you do it respectfully, right? And so if you've got something to say, please put your hand up and share your insight, And it could be about what we're talking about. It could be about something that impacted you in the book, or as we're talking, you might find something that's being said that resonates with you. And at that moment, you absolutely can share and bring whatever is on your heart to light. And so we want to do that. Thank you for putting the ones in the chat. If you had a chance, if you've read at least chapters 1 through 4, put a 2 in chat so I can kind of see where we're at with reading. I know, this is not a new version. This is not a newer book. It's in a book from, I think the author published it in I think the last publication was maybe the early 2000s. And so we're definitely not reading something that has not been, relevant to our community, but it's certainly important to, kind of dig deeper into some of the thought leaders of the previous decade and in the past. And so at Book Club, what we do is, we try to hit all types of topics. We touch, anything from empowerment to literacy to history to political science to, we've actually touched every genre. So I'm excited about that. I look forward to continue to build. If you have ideas, certainly you can put them in the Facebook group. Certainly we read them. And this book actually came as a request by the community. But I want to welcome you all, man. This is a great day to be alive. There's so much going on. And we're so excited to at least be able to gather in front of people. Again, I want to reinforce, don't be shy. This is home. This is home. Before we begin, I want to make sure that we give proper respect and acknowledgement to my brother Rashad, aka Shadi Blast. Today is his birthday. My man is that brother that brother is amazing. And Shadi, I've known Shadi for a long time, and I would tell you, Shadi is a man of his word, ferocious debater, but definitely. I respect a lot. I respect Rashad a lot, and love him. He's a day one guy, and he is a thinker. And so, if you ever had a chance to connect with him, or obviously you've seen him in action, so you know what type of business he's in. You know how serious he is about what he says, and so we want to share. If you haven't, make sure you hit him up with a birthday shout out, because I know everyone's been doing that, and so I want to make sure that we acknowledge the King Rashad's birthday. Shout out to my brother Troy. Shout out to the whole EYL family. EYL is in had an amazing event from what I got to see out there in London. And so you are part of a community that is not local, it is global, it's international. It is, a movement that is reaching and hitting people and continuing to grow. And so be on the lookout for newer and greater things to come. We all also want to empower you. You have been a part of this movement. And so you've been called to this time. We believe each one teach one's in motto. So you should also take whatever you've gotten here and go out and go out and share with someone who someone who may not know, and then you may connect with this new information and this new insight that you have. Shout out to everyone who's turning on camera. It's good to see you. But let's jump into this conversation. Powernomics. It's a very, very, very detailed book. We talked about it a little bit last week. We got into it in kind of the realm of talking about culture. Culture is important. Culture impacts behavior. Culture impacts ethic. Culture has an impact on mindset. But I want to, before I jump in, I prepared a slideshow for some of the highlights that hit me in chapter 3 and 4. But before I go into that, I want to hear from you. What's up? Tell me something that stood out to you, something that resonated with you, something that you didn't know, but now you know, something that you took away and said, you know what, I'm gonna do this, or something that you want to share with someone else. Here's the place to do it. So I'm gonna turn it to you. Just put your hand up, and I'll definitely call on you like they used to do on in your high school or your middle school days. So this is our time to kind of share and talk about something that resonated with you from Powernomics. Certainly, if you have something to share, I would definitely encourage you to do so. Is that Shantae? Jordan, go ahead, sis. You got the floor.
All right. First, I'd like to say
shout out to you with the assets over liability shirt. That
oh yeah, always for the culture. First of all, good afternoon, kings and queens. I'm happy to be on today talking about this book. You know what? I'm not gonna hold you. This book sat on my bookshelf for like 2 years. I've been heard about the book. I bought the book and just never opened it. So once I saw that it was on the book club list, and I'm like, oh man, perfect timing. And I think that EYL. I think like you said, like I think this book came out in '99 actually. Like Dr. Claude Anderson. I mean, he wrote the blueprint, and I think what EYL is doing in terms of building a collective is it's revolutionary. If only blueprint is here, we just need to implement it. And what's crazy is like he foresaw us taking advantage of this by 2005, and I'm like, man, we so far off. But but we're not though. So this is perfect. So I wanted to talk about chapter 3. What stood out to me personally, the distinction that he made between neighborhoods versus communities. And I'm like, that hit it on the money because like we're scattered out. We have the centralized location in terms of inner cities where it's predominantly Black, but it's like there's no community values or anything like that. Like we just live in a certain per capita in terms of we live near each other, but we don't have any sense of community or sense of accountability to each other. So I thought that was really interesting. Also in chapter 3, when he was talking about, he brought up like Little Italy, Chinatown, Little Havana. And I'm like, man, that's so true. Like, because we go and visit those places as Black people, but we're consumers. We go back to our neighborhoods, whereas we don't have like these city centers and where it's like, it's marked off. It's our territory. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we have others that come in, they set up shop, hair shops, nail salons, and they make us a visitor in our own homeland. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that something? Right.
Yeah, so that really stood out to me, and I'm like, man, like it's so true because like everything that he's saying is just putting it into perspective and things that we didn't even consciously were aware of. So I think that now that it's coming to the light, and you be like, damn, that's so true. Like if we go back to, I don't know if people got their books, but on page 83,
I'm with you. I got my book right here.
Yeah, he said, to the contrary, marked boundaries invite all to come, but primarily as customers and visitors. And I'm like, we a visitor and a consumer in every community and every neighborhood that we go to. And we have yet to develop that sense of community of our own. And that's disheartening and it's disappointing. But the first step to fixing the problem is realizing that it actually exists. So
you set it off, sis. So let's give a hand clap for our sis who set it off.